I didn't have to go to Thong Guy. All right. That's fine. Banana Hammock Guy is here in spirit. What's up, YouTube? Welcome in to part 28 of Dragon Age Origins with a Therapist, where we did not have to talk to Banana Hammock Guy in order to get here. We'll see if that stands. You all know what Banana Hammock Thong Guy is now, so, you know. Anyway, thank you as always for being here. Leave me a thumbs up on the stream right now while I'm doing the little spiel. Maybe leave a comment down below throughout the playthrough at some point. Follow all the links in the description. Thank you to all of you who are here, who watch my stuff. Follow me on Twitch. Come hang out with us live at 9:30 p.m. Pacific time. Would love to see you over here. And if you listen to my music on Spotify and Apple Music, thanks for doing that. I really appreciate it. Clipped Wing and Mokamai, thank you very much for the subs. All right, here we go. Let's rock and roll. We're going to go talk to Flemeth. This is going to be wild. Because old Morrigan needs us to go kill her mom. And I reckon we're gonna... I reckon we're gonna take the usual suspects for that. Especially having Alistair as a Templar. That's pretty useful stuff. Oh boy. Flemeth's hut. Okay. Now, bring it in. Huddle in here. We're here for Morrigan. We keep Morrigan's interest at heart. Morrigan is our party member. Flemeth perhaps will try to talk us out of this. We may listen, but we are biased in our interactions with her. And it's important for us to acknowledge that as we go in there. All right? Remember Morrigan. She's part of our party. Flemeth is not. Did Flemeth save us? Yes, she did, Alistair. I know. I know you feel a sense of indebtedness to her. Because we have our lives because of her. That does not make her entitled to the benefit of the doubt in this conversation. We will listen, but we will not use the fact that she autonomously chose to save us in the tower without our request. We will not use that as fodder for our decision making here. It is unrelated to this directive. Okay? Liliana and Shale, just, you know, do your thing. All right, now that we've pep talked this, we're going in. Now, this is kind of awkward because I think Flemeth might have heard everything I just said. Because I said it very loudly, and she wore camouflage, so I didn't know that she was standing there. But I stand by everything I said, guys. And I need Flemeth in case she can't... If she can hear this, she knows that I stand by what I said. Okay. Hello, Flemeth. Hi. Okie doke.
And so you return.
You knew I was coming, didn't you?
Morrigan has at last found someone willing to dance to her tune. Such enchanting music she plays, wouldn't you say?
How come to talk? I'm gonna play this. Well, Flemeth is not an idiot. I think Flemeth probably knew this was coming. Flemeth knew that Morrigan was gonna go fly the coop, and she was gonna potentially discover the deal. So she's controlling the engagement in the way that Flemeth has controlled all the engagements when we've talked with her. She's really good. So again, we have to focus on controlling what we can control. Remember why we're here. Play it cool. We're going to control the engagement back. And we're going to take what she gives us. I'm not going to be an idiot because I have to know that Flemeth knows why we're here. So I'm not going to beat around the bush too much. Otherwise, I look like an idiot. I should dance to your tune instead.
Why dance at all? Why not sing?
Ooh, I do like her.
What has Morrigan told you? What little plan has she hatched this time?
She knows how you extend your unnatural lifespan.
That she does. The question is, do you? Ah, but it is an old, old story. One that Flemeth has heard before, and even told. Let us skip right to the ending, shall we? Do you slay the old wretch as Morrigan bids, or does the tale take a different turn?
Now, we're playing chess right now. We are absolutely playing chess right now. I love this. All right. She is giving me the illusion of power here. Right? Oh, how do you end this story? Does it take a different turn? She is trying to play into whatever kind of bravado I probably have. And you know what? I guarantee you that she has been here many times before. We don't know that Morrigan is the first daughter of hers to realize what the deal was. Maybe she's done this 60 times. Every daughter she's ever had. She's like, yeah, go ahead, go fly. And then they find out. And then somebody comes back, says, I'm going to kill you on behalf of your daughter. And then Flemeth either talks them out of it or whatever, right? Like, we don't know the history behind this. We don't have all the information. Flemeth has more of the information. So I got to play some chess with her here. One of the ways that I think I can flip this a little bit on its head, potentially, is if I play along a bit in a way where it seems like I am intrigued by what she has to say, but really I'm maintaining my power by being intentional about how I choose to respond to her, right? So I could say, what do you propose? As a way to acknowledge, like, I get a sense that this is more complicated than what I understand it to be, and I know that to be the case. Let me hear you out. What do you got? I don't have to listen to it, but I can certainly hear it. Which I recognize as I'm saying it is in contrast to how I have handled demons in the past. As if you'll recall in past episodes when we've had to handle demons, I have said we are not talking, right? Like, I'm not dealing with a demon. I'm not giving it any chance to poke holes in my argument. We're going ham on it immediately. I don't know if Flemeth is a demon, which is part of the reason why I'm handling this a little bit differently. If she shows herself to be a demon, all right, cool. But that's not a known variable at this point. What do you propose?
Morrigan wishes my grimoire? Take it as a trophy. Tell her I am slain.
She's playing this way too cool. She's been here before. She knows what she's doing. Oh, man. Morrigan read this in a book? Flemeth knows that. Flemeth knows that I don't have all the answers. Oh, man. This is good shit. Take it as a trophy and tell her I'm slain. I don't know about that, man. What happens to you if I do that?
I go. Perhaps I surprise Morrigan one day. Or I may simply watch. It would be interesting to see what she does with her freedom. Enlightening, even. Would you give an old woman that?
Oh, man. This doesn't make sense. There's no way that Flemeth believes that she is weak. Like, Flemeth hasn't survived all these years because she's, just hid out in a hut. I don't know if perhaps Flemeth has kind of reached the end of the line where she is like, you know, okay, I'm done. I've reached my immortal limit where I'm like, I'm kind of tired of this game. Also, if she was legitimately threatened by me, she would probably play that angle because she would want it to seem like she's willing to bargain for her life. It's just really, it's fascinating to me that she's willing to bargain here knowing how strong she is. There's more to this than I understand. Obviously. I don't know what the role of the book is. I don't know what the connection is between Flemeth and Morrigan, really. I don't know if killing her means that she just automatically gets transferred to Morrigan anyway. There's so many variables here that I don't know and understand. So the thing that I have to work with here is the observable and tangible dynamics that are available to me, right? So Morrigan had a book that she read that told her that Flemeth has basically takes her daughter's bodies as husks and then lives out in her daughter's bodies. Flemeth basically confirmed that, so cool, right? Morrigan said, I want my mother dead, which tells me that she, I mean, that's a tough thing to say, right? Like, even if you have a complicated relationship with your parent, I think, like, saying murder them, unless you have a really terrible relationship with your parent, is a difficult thing. But she basically said, go over there, kill her, do it for me. Morrigan, or Flemeth is willing, and they're one and the same, basically. Flemeth is willing to trick Morrigan here. Which tells me that she does not have a lot of respect for her daughter, potentially. I also think it makes sense because I think Flemeth has to see Morrigan as a husk. I don't think she can see her as a daughter. She can't afford the emotional investment in that. And probably over time has gotten really adept at that. So she's treating Morrigan as an object here. And I actually think that if Flemeth was willing to show a bit more distress as it related to this, it would give me a little bit more buy-in into it. But because Flemeth is so cold-hearted about this and is so willing to deceive her daughter, I don't know that there's a lot of love lost there. She's basically saying, like, I want to put my daughter in a fishbowl. She's not, man, she's not giving me a lot to go off of.
Shame. What will it be then?
I'm gonna do this for Morrigan. I appreciate what you did for me, Flemeth.
It is a dance poor Flemeth knows well. Let us see if she remembers the steps. Come, she will earn what she takes. I'd have it no other way.
Wow! Can't say I was expecting that. Whoa. Can I kill a dragon? We find out tonight. How you doing, Shale? As I'm not doing so hot. I think we got this, though. This is good practice for the Archdemon. That's for sure. Come on. Die, Flemeth. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Is that not the most badass shit you've ever seen in your life? Are you not entertained? Holy shit. Flemeth's Key. Wow. Holy crap. I wonder what that means for Morrigan. I was not expecting that. I wasn't expecting a dragon. I really thought that it was going to be a demon. Shale really tanked the shit out of that. That's for sure. Let's check in on the injuries. Like, Shale really... Way to go. Where the hell are my injury kits? There we go. All right. Woo. Let's get your boy leveled up here. Hell, let's get everybody going here. Alistair, looking good, buddy. Okay. It was wild, man. Absolutely wild. I would agree with that, Sean. I do think it was probably very difficult for Morrigan to ask for help. I completely agree with that. She is not one generally to trust other people to assist her, so. Kapow, thanks for gifting that sub. Robes of Possession. Morrigan can wear her mom's stuff. An old but lovingly cared for book bound in leather of questionable origin. The pages smell of herbs and wood smoke. Intricate stitching on the cover marks out a leafless tree, strangely ominous in its stark appearance. So before we leave Flemeth's hut, I want to just chat a little bit about that decision because I realized that I made it somewhat hastily after the analysis, and the reason that I did that was because, again, I have to work with what I have. Flemeth's utilitarian view of Morrigan and acknowledgement of what I knew coming into the engagement rather than poking holes into it suggested to me that what Morrigan sent me to do was probably correct. And that process of Flemeth taking over her daughter's bodies over and over again is probably what is actually happening. The reality is, Flemeth was useful to me insofar as she saved me from the fortress at Ostagar. Absolutely, and I am grateful for that. Just didn't have to do that. And so I do wonder if part of her did that and then sent Morrigan out because maybe she was ready to be done. I don't know. But based on that and the fact that Morrigan is in my party, has been with me, is somebody who is supporting me in my fight against the Darkspawn, and is somebody who is building a sense of autonomy outside of what she is to her mother, her making that request, mixed with the way that Flemeth reacted to my showing up at her doorstep and talking about it, and knowing what this was about, was enough for me to say, you know what, I'm gonna break the chain on Morrigan's behalf. If there was ever gonna be somebody to break this chain, it's gonna be me on behalf of Morrigan, and maybe this ensures that several more daughters down the line don't lose their autonomy to their mother's own needs. Because really, like, what Flemeth was doing is kind of gross in the sense that, like, you have this human that shows up who's functional as far as we can understand, whose entire purpose is to be a vessel rather than to be able to live her own life. Like, that's not cool. So if there was ever a time to break the cycle, it was on Morrigan's request, and it turns out Flemeth might have been some dangerous ass dragon, right? And who knows what that means for the rest of the world. So I needed to go off of what I had in the moment there because of how many unknown variables were surrounding us with that. So I work with the interactional dynamics that I have and reading the moment of how they respond when presented with the fact that I know what this is all about. Pancake, thanks for gifting that sub to Hazardous. I appreciate that. All right, now we'll see how Morrigan responds. Wow. We're gonna pet Dirk because I'm tired of him barking all the time. I love you, buddy, but you bark too much. E-Fills, I don't have enough time in this right here to answer that question. There's some parallels, but I think there's some significant differences too.
What do you wish of me?
What? Okay. I'd be more inclined to be like, did you do it yet? But okay. Morrigan. On this grimoire.
Mother's real grimoire, is it? I am glad you were able to find it after all. My thanks for retrieving it. I shall begin studying it immediately and unlock the power that it holds.
Morrigan, I don't your mom was a dragon. I don't know. Oh, no, 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 no. Can we just like maybe read it? Like maybe you just, can we read it together or something like this? Oh, Jesus Christ. I hope that, I don't know. I mean, I guess if she's a dragon, it's not like you turned into a dragon by reading a grimoire, but like, whoa.
What do you wish of me?
That's really all we get? That's it? I just went and killed your mom and got you the grimoire, and you're like, all right, I can't wait to see what this book's got. That's it? Whoa. Okay. I mean, if that doesn't speak to the dynamic, right? I mean, that's a little bit of my own, like, damn, coming into this, but maybe Morrigan made up her mind. I mean, Morrigan was pretty clear about the fact that, like, she wanted her dead. Perhaps Morrigan has compartmentalized that. Maybe when she made that request was made after a very thoughtful decision, and she has been able to put that away, and it's not that big of a deal. Maybe Morrigan is more focused on her own autonomy and her own needs and her own desire to read the grimoire than she is emotionally attached to her mother, who's now dead. And that's perfectly reasonable if that's the case, right? Like, I'm sort of biased in the sense that I'm thinking like, well, geez, there's like no apparent observable grief there. Maybe there is. She's just not ready to go there yet, or she's so excited about what came out of this because now she's free of the burden of wondering what she's going to become, that she's just ready to go and immerse herself in her own autonomy. That's perfectly fine too. I'm not going to poo-poo that. It's just sort of like jarring for me of like, I just went and did this big thing. Your mother's a freaking dragon that I had to fight. She gave Alistair a concussion and broke Liliana's leg. And I don't know how Shale's crystals are doing, but we got it done. Wow. Super interesting. But hey, whatever, you know? Now, this is one of those very important times where I want to give a reminder to chat and to YouTube comments. If you know something and I don't know right now, do not share it. Okay? I am working with what the game is giving me. I can just feel the energy in the world of people ready at their keyboards on YouTube, ready to be like, oh, duh, but Dr. Mick, the reason that this is the case is because of this, and this, and this. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear it. We're working with what we got. I don't want to hear it. I know that can be frustrating, but I'm laying the boundary down right now. We are working with what the game has given us, and as far as I'm concerned, Morrigan had zero reaction to the fact that her mother died, other than to be grateful that she has the grimoire. Cool. Good enough. Okay. I think we are missing Ostagar veteran named Rexel. The details of his disappearance are too vague to provide specific leads. You should keep an eye out for it for his travels in Denerim. It's interesting because we've gone to Denerim and I haven't seen Rexel. He learned that Master Fazil of Guild of Free Sailors was robbed by foreigners. Besides money, the robbers took a sextant, which is apparently important to his guild. He offered a reward for the return. I don't know where that is. Master Wade finished your set of Drake scale armor, though he wasn't happy with it. The armor is amazing. Master Wade will happily craft more armor for you if you can provide him with scales. Not worried about that. Find and activate the rest of the mystical sites of power located in the Brazilian forest, the deep roads, Denerim, and the Circle Tower. Light, Arlo, Redcliffe, gather an army. I mean, we're pretty much ready to go do the Landsmeet, I guess. I don't have that. I don't have a lot more to do. So I think we're gonna go talk to the Arl and see what the deal is, and we're gonna do that after I pee really quick because I'm not gonna be able to concentrate. So give me 30 seconds. All right, let's go talk to the Arl. Thank you, Jugger, for timing that. Appreciate you, buddy. Alrighty. Redcliffe Castle we go. How do you do? You guys kind of remind me of the guards from Monty Python. I wish their view of me was like Lancelot coming down the path. Lancelot! Lancelot! Alright, Arl. Where's Jowan? Oh. Poor Jowan's dead. I wonder... It's kind of a shame we didn't get to see that, but... Isolde! Hello!
My husband lives thanks to you. I am grateful.
Fair trade-off? Killed your kid, saved your hubby? We cool? You're welcome, I guess. I am Mick, slayer of children, not of hubbies.
You have restored Eamon. I am most grateful. It's up to him what happens next. If anyone can force an end to the civil war, he can.
When you're ready, we shall leave for Denerim.
Let's go.
Excellent. I shall make the arrangements. Let us be off to Denerim, and may the Maker watch over us.
Oh, this is gonna be some wild shit. I don't think Loghain's gonna be glad we're here.
Denerim is the heart and soul of Ferelden. It was the city of King Calenhad, the birthplace of Andraste. As stubborn as a Mabari, and as good to have on your side. If we defeat Loghain here, the rest of the nation will follow us. By calling the Landsmeet, I've struck the first blow. The advantage, for the moment, is ours. He will have little choice but to show himself, to oppose us directly. He will strike back at us. The only question that remains is how soon. Loghain, this is an honor that the Regent would find time to greet me personally.
How could I not welcome a man so important as to call every lord in Ferelden away from his estates, while a blight claws at our land?
The Blight is why I'm here. With Cailan dead, Ferelden must have a king to lead it against the Darkspawn.
Ferelden has a strong leader. It's Queen, and I lead her armies.
Oh man, the dick measuring is just off the charts right now. I love the posturing of both of them in this. I love it. Arl Eamon is like, this is the old bless your heart from down south going on between the two of them. Oh, how honored I am to have an esteemed regent show up and put his face in front of mine here, you fucking asshole. Oh yes, a person who is so important as to be able to call a Landsmeet at the time of a blight, you little bitch. I love it. I love it so much. All right. I don't have much of a place to interject here. I'm kind of surprised that I have the ability to talk here. Considering Ostagar, perhaps we need a better general. Venora rules, let her speak for herself. Yep, let's go. If Venora's the queen, get your ass out of the way, big dog. This is how I can play along with the game, right? If you're going to talk about Venora being the queen, put the queen in front of me. Now, I do want to just back up real quick, because this would be a profoundly difficult situation, I think, to be in, right? Like, we're looking at, especially for Alistair, but we're looking at a person that we technically only know by what we've heard. We did not actually witness it. We are looking at a person who bailed on the Grey Wardens so that he could seize power. And we were there when it happened. It would be very hard to stay stoic here. But that is one of the most important aspects of this entire engagement, is that we focus on being as intentional as possible with how we read and respond to the events that unfold here. Because if we allow ourselves to be reactive rather than responsive to our emotional experience, we are going to lose power in this engagement, and we cannot afford that. Loghain is going to sniff blood in the water if we don't play this cool. Now, one of the ways that I can undercut him here by using his own language against him in order to try to neutralize this a little bit is to say, if Anora's the queen, then let her speak for herself. You don't need to mansplain this shit. What, you think you're better than her because you lead the armies? You're lucky she even lets you. Right? So, Anora rules. Let her speak for herself. That also cuts right underneath him. It's enough to get under his skin because it's using his own words against him, and he ain't going to like that. We're also going to get a lot of information from him, right? If I say if Anora rules, let her speak for herself, he's like, you know what? Yeah, you're right, dude. And he backs off and he lets Anora speak. That's intriguing. If he gets shitty about that, he goes, as a lot of men tend to do when they're reminded that, you know, women are as, if not more capable than them, then that gives us information too. Because it tells us that his directive for being here is because he wants the power, not that he wants to respect the system, and that he's acting in the best interest of the kingdom. Right? So we put him in a position to show some of his hand by how he reacts to me saying, let Anora speak for herself. So there's a whole bunch of good reasons for us to use this as the dialogue option here.
Ah, the Grey Warden recruit. I thought we might meet again. You have my sympathies on what happened to your order. It is unfortunate that they chose to turn against Ferelden.
Oh, yes. It certainly is. Now, we got there. That's all the info we need, right? Okay. Body language analysis time. We haven't had a chance to do this too much because this is an older game, but I really appreciate the way that BioWare did this. He steps forward. Now, one, he is taller than me, which has a vibe. Two, he's a human, and I'm an elf. So that representation is part of this dynamic, and we would do well to remember that that's the case. Three, he steps forward. That is an act of aggression. That is a very explicit way of telling me I have the reins here. People use nonverbals all the time in order to communicate power of situations and just their general orientation toward an engagement. Me suggesting that Anora should be allowed to speak for herself because she is technically more powerful than Loghain, and him stepping forward and giving me this line of bullshit that he and I both know is bullshit is his way of overcompensating for the fact that I just chopped him at the knees by suggesting that Anora should be able to speak. It is totally an overcompensation by the form of posturing. It's kind of a smart move on his part if he's trying to save face, because he's leveraging the fact that as an elf I may be intimidated by a human in a position of power, given the fact that I grew up in the alienage, and his suggestion that the Grey Wardens bailed at Ostagar, I don't think so much as him trying to get me to believe that that's actually the narrative. I think that's a way for him to try to get under my skin and suggest that the people that I care about, who I don't really actually care that much about because I was a brand new recruit, like, it's his way of trying to get under my skin. And it shows that I got under his skin. That's the big takeaway we need to have here. His overcompensation in the form of posturing shows that what I just said to him hit him. It got under the armor, which means I have power here, even though he's trying to take it back. I'm the one that's controlling this engagement, and I need to continue to keep that in mind as we go forward here. So, I could play this in a couple of ways. The first thing that I could do is I could just act like I agree with him. Right? Like, I could be like, oh, that's so kind of... I could do what Eamon did. Oh, that's so kind of you, Queen Regent, to acknowledge the loss of people I care so dearly about. And I know that you cared so much about them too, which is why you're really fighting hard to unite Ferelden against the Blight. Like, I could do that. Or I could... But I don't think the game gives me that, right? Like, I don't have that option here. But that might be a way that I play this. Because I could say, you know, hey, I don't really understand what that has to do with the fact that the queen is not speaking for herself right now. So I really only listen to the queen because she's my queen. Like, I could play that angle too, and it's gonna get him. It's gonna get underneath him. All right, enough of this. When does the Landsmeet begin? I don't accept the sympathies of deserters and regicides. I have come to reveal your crimes in Osgard. The last two of those are dicey. My sense is that Loghain probably knows that I am here because of what happened, which is again why he's putting it out into the world, that he's got this little narrative here that he's trying to get me to have to respond to. It's not a good idea for me right now to accuse him of being a deserter and of regicide, or to reveal his crimes at Ostagar, because all that's going to do is stoke flames that don't need to be stoked. Ultimately, we have the ace in the hole in the fact that we have Alistair with the blood, right? And we have Eamon here calling the Landsmeet. It behooves me to wait. Loghain is baiting me into an emotional response. If I have an emotional response, he's winning, and I might do something stupid, like accuse him of something that he has already propagandized out into the world is not true. I have no leverage in that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to stay intentional. I'm going to say enough of this. When's the Landsmeet begin? That's the best thing I can do here. Accusing him is me showing my hand, and it gives him a chance to prepare. I would much rather leave him to the unknown. Of like, wait, why are they here? What are they going to do? Enough of this. When's the Landsmeet begin?
Don't interrupt, Churl. Your betters are talking.
Enough, Catherine. This is not the time or place. I had hoped to talk you down from this rash course, Eamon. Our people are frightened. Our king is dead. Our land is under siege. We must be united now if we are to endure this crisis. Your own sister, Queen Rowan, fought tirelessly to see Ferelden restored. Would you see her work destroyed? You divide our nation and weaken our efforts against the Blight, with your selfish ambitions to the throne.
Political projection. Right freaking there. That last sentence is pure projection. Every accusation is an admission when you are working with shitty people in positions of power. The best way to get people to think that he's not trying to power grab the throne is to accuse other people of doing it, because then it looks as if he is acting on the defense. It makes it seem like there's no possible way that Loghain could be doing that if he is so emotionally activated by the chance that others are doing it. And people eat this shit up when they don't understand the way that this works. This happens in real life, friends. There are definitely people in positions of power that absolutely make wild accusations as a way to create a front that if you're the one accusing, there's no way you're doing it. And it's incredibly frustrating of a position to be in, because he is saying, unite, 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 because everybody else is trying to break us apart. When the reality is that's what he's doing. So his projection shows here in the form of that accusation. And the reason that it's important to understand this dynamic is because there's a deeper layer to this. Loghain suggesting that dividing the nation and using the Blight as a selfish ambition to the throne. The only way that Loghain comes up with that and says that is if he himself has thought of that as an option. Let me repeat that. The only way that Loghain says this over the course of a conversation is because he himself has thought of that as an option. Loghain would actually buy the favor, I think, of me and of many people if he played dumb with that. If he thought there's no possible way that Arl Eamon would do something like that and just kind of acted like that's not a possibility and played it chill. But a lot of people, when they try to grab power and they get drunk with it, they get reckless with this shit. They start accusing people really harshly of stuff that's not founded in any kind of data, and they blow their cover. The problem is he's propagandized everybody into believing in him because everybody is scared. He is correct. Everybody is scared. And when people are scared, they are far more influenceable by people who are very clear and directive and confident. That is what people look for in times of uncertainty when they themselves are terrified. So Loghain has already done this really good job of being confident and clear in his messaging. And now he makes these accusations as a way to make it seem like he's protecting all of his constituents, when in reality, this is exactly what he's doing. So it's a way to veil his intentions to his constituents, but it also shows his intentions to people who are intelligent enough and mindful enough and listen enough to understand that that dynamic is him really showing his cards in a very profound way. And so we have to play this cool. It's very difficult. I mean, Loghain he's a strategist, not just on the battlefield, but interpersonally. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's also chipping away at some of Eamon's vulnerabilities by bringing up, would you undo all the work that was done? How dare you come in here and blow this whole thing apart while I'm trying to unite everybody? He's sowing seeds of doubt so that maybe even Arl Eamon starts to question his motives here. Loghain does this long enough, we might start considering this to be gaslighting. I'm not ready to go there yet, but I could totally see Loghain trying to use that tactic as a way to get people to flip around on the reasons that they're engaging with him. He is showing right now that he is threatened via his reactivity and some of the ways that he's saying these things. Loghain could totally handle this in a different way to show that he's in control and that he's not threatened by this at all, but he's not doing that. We have the upper hand here, and I think Loghain knows that. So if I sit here and say, you're the one who divided Ferelden, he already knows that. I don't do myself any favors by saying that I know this. Loghain knows it. I know it. I'm not an idiot. The people that Loghain is afraid of understanding that he divided Ferelden are his constituents. It's the people out in Denerim, which is why he doesn't want this Landsmeet to happen. He knows that Eamon knows. He knows that I know. He knows that Alistair knows. He knows that every single Grey Warden was there. They all know that he divided Ferelden. But the people of Denerim and of Ferelden don't know that, because they've been sold a bill of goods that he is some sort of unifying force amidst something that they should be afraid of. So it doesn't do me any good to claim this on him, because again, it's also showing my hand that I'm here to go directly against him. Okay, what efforts can there be when you outlaw the Grey Wardens? That's another accusation that I don't think really does me any good here. If you truly want to save this land, stand with us. That's the powerful position to take here, because it also forces him to give me an answer. If he goes, no, I won't do it, now Loghain is privy to division, right? If we come at him and say, no, actually, dude, you were trying to unite everybody. You should try to stand with us. Like, bring your armies. Like, we come in and we act like we're working with him. We force him to show his hand here. So we're going to go with option 3 here. We're not going to accuse him of stuff. We're going to hold him accountable to the discourse that he just gave to Eamon when he said we need to keep everybody unified. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, buddy. You should stand with us.
I should put my faith in untried foreign hands. Do you think I'm blind? Caelan depended on the Grey Warden's prowess against the Darkspawn, and look how well that ended. Let us speak of reality rather than tall tales. Stories will not save us.
I cannot forgive what you've done, Loghain. Perhaps the Maker can, but not I. Our people deserve a king of the Theron bloodline. Alistair will be the one to lead us to victory in this blight.
Oh, is that all I have to do? No pressure.
The Emperor of Orlais also thought I could not bring him down. Expect no more mercy than I showed him. There is nothing I would not do for my homeland.
Oh, we know. We know.
I would take my ball and I'm gonna go home.
Well, that was bracing. I didn't expect Loghain to show himself quite so soon.
Yeah, of course he did. Of course he did, because he's not actually strong. Loghain is not actually smarter than everybody in the room. He's not actually powerful. Loghain is symbolically powerful. He is perceptively powerful. But the man hasn't actually done anything to show strong leadership. He is leveraging the fear of his constituents and nothing more. He made a bitch move at Ostagar, and then he's propagandized everybody. And the only reason that you make bitch moves and propagandize people and project is because you know deep down that you're full of shit. That's totally what it is. And so we got under his skin and we got him in touch with that. It's why he postures. It's why he makes threats. It's because at the end of the day, he's scared. He doesn't know how to lead. He doesn't know what any of it. He wants power, but he doesn't actually know what to do with it. I think deep down, there's probably some part of Loghain that actually is vulnerable right now. That perhaps feels like things haven't gone very well. Maybe he lost people to the Blight. Like, there are very real reasons why Loghain may be as driven to do this as he is. But ultimately, he is operating from a place of insecurity, and he just doesn't have the ability to regulate that. The reason that Arl Eamon can stay as stoic as he's staying here and to be as measured as he is because he's got the esteem. He's got the power. He has the favor and the reputation that you need in order to be able to actually lead the masses. So we're dealing with a child. He says, I didn't expect Loghain to show himself quite so soon. I did. You play that right. He's going to show his hand every single time because he doesn't actually know how to maneuver this stuff. In some ways, it's sad, but it's also terrifying because albeit the fact that Loghain is not good at leading and is a frightened person, he has people following him. He has the ability to control the flow of information right now, and he's leveraging the Queen in order to do that. It's terrifying because all the people of Denerim, all the people of Ferelden, unless they're thinking really hard about the messages that they're getting, are buying it because they're afraid of the Blight. And that is like soul crushing as people that are in a position of having better information and who can actually lead the masses. So we really have to play this intelligently. And I think we did a good job by getting Loghain activated here without us actually showing our hand. I'm not surprised at all that he showed himself like that. Have you known Loghain a long time?
My sister married King Merrick while he was still in exile. At that time, he and Loghain were inseparable. The wild prince who'd never seen the inside of a castle and the farmer's son. When Loghain joined Merrick's rebels, he was just a raw-boned boy, but he got on one knee to swear that he would see Ferelden free or die trying.
Yeah, just prime directive. And this is the way that he knows how. He's probably seen that to some extent. He's probably watched Game of Thrones. He knows that you have to come in like a battering ram if you're going to make it happen. And I can appreciate that. Again, I think at the end of the day, as we do in these playthroughs, right? I do this in these playthroughs as often as I possibly can. We do need to also see if we can find some empathy for Loghain. It doesn't mean that we need to operate off of that we don't hold him accountable. But Loghain obviously cares for Ferelden. He has obviously been affected by the events in Ferelden, by the Blight, etc. There's a reason that the man is so passionate and that he's doing what he's doing. And there's a good chance that the reason he's doing what he's doing is vulnerable. But he's not going to go there. Probably been burned when he's shown vulnerability in the past. He's probably been dismissed in the same way that he dismisses me, right? He probably spent most of his life hearing, you are but a farmer's boy. You're a little bitch and you have no power here, so shut the hell up. And he probably had to work his ass off in order to get in the favor of the nobility. The only thing he knows is to be aggressive because that's the circumstances that he had to be in. The problem is, now that Loghain was in a position of power or hit a barrier where he's just not capable of getting past it due to social structure, not by any fault of his own, he's taken it too far. And so I'm guessing he's probably spiraling. He's probably anxious. He's probably afraid. He probably knows that there are people that are better at this than him. So again, that's why he has to threaten people, because he needs people to back down rather than follow through with their directives, because if they follow through with their directives, he's going to hit a limitation. And he's known that his entire life. He wasn't born into this. He doesn't understand it fully. He's been kept out of a lot of information as a result. And so he's shooting from the hip in a way that is really dangerous because he has the followership of the masses. So that's a struggling dude right now. And I would be a lot more empathic and sensitive and warm about that if he wasn't propagandizing people and he wasn't causing very serious damage to Ferelden. You always have to hold leadership accountable. Always. Leadership deserves infinitely more scrutiny than constituents do. Infinitely more. You sound like you admire him.
He made us a free people once more. You can't know what it was like to grow up as a vassal in your own land, while poncy little Orlesians minced around in their silks. I would never have believed he would do anything but what was best for Ferelden. We need eyes and ears in the city. Loghain has been here for months. The roots of all his schemes must begin here. The sooner we find them, the better we can turn them to our advantage. Go have a look around, and see what you can turn up. Better yet, find the nobles who have arrived for the Landsmeet. Test the waters. See how many will support us. When you're ready to talk strategy, come upstairs to my sitting room. We can lay out our plans for the Landsmeet then.
You have no idea what it's like to grow up poor and oppressed, where people beat the shit out of you and people are wearing fine silk cloth and living their life while you just eat scraps. You have no idea. Now, I could take that personally. I could get shitty with the Arl about that. And I think in some ways I might be right to do that. I'm not going to take it personal. I'm not going to take it personally. The Arl grew up in a completely different stratosphere than I did. I think to an extent, that is the Arl's way of trying to empathize with Loghain in the way that I just did in my analysis. Okay? I don't think that's a shot at me. Is it a little bit like tone deaf? Yes. It's very tone deaf. But it's not a personal shot at me. It's just a reflection of the fact that Arl hasn't had very good representation, or that's just the social dynamics of the party that he's got with him is not at the forefront of his mind, and that's fine. I don't think it's a writing mistake at all, Halstein. I think that's exactly how Arl Eamon would handle that. I'm not surprised at all that he said that. Not surprised at all. But it shows the lack of representation that humans generally have about elves, right? And it's just not at the forefront of his mind right now. This guy's got bigger fish to fry than making sure that I feel all lovey-dovey, bring it in fuzzy-wuzzy about the fact that he fully understands the lack of privilege that I grew up with. Like, does that suck? Yeah. Is that the most pressing issue right now? No. Because at the end of the day, I can't empathize with that. Even just because the Arl says I can't imagine what that's like doesn't mean that's true. I can't imagine what that's like because I grew up with it. That's literally my lived experience. And perhaps after all this is said and done, me and the Arl could sit down for a drink and I could say, hey, by the way, I don't know what you know about elves, but me growing up kind of sucked. It's just not that important right now relative to everything else. But it's totally the kind of thing that the Arl would say there. I'm not surprised at all that he would say that. Castle Highever has stood since the Divine Age, when it was not an independent Banorn, but merely an outpost of the growing Banorn of Amaranthine, in the days before Amaranthine became an Arling itself. The outpost of Highever was originally held by the Elstan family, cousins of the Howes. In the Age of Towers, however, Ban Canabar Elstan was murdered by his wife Flemeth, thus ending the bloodline. Canabar's captain of the guard, Sarim Kuzland, took the lands and title. The Kuzlands declared their independence from Amaranthine, starting a war that lasted 30 years. When the dust settled, Highever was on its own and in possession of half the land that had once been southwestern Amaranthine. Highever became a Tyrnir during the Black Age, when Hala Kuzland gathered the lords together under her banner to drive the werewolves out of their lands, earning herself the title of Tyrna almost as an afterthought. Today, Highever is one of only 2 remaining Tyrnirs, making the Kuzland family second in rank only to the king. Arl Howe of Amaranthine was named the new Tyrn of Highever under somewhat questionable circumstances, and the fate of the Kuzland family is now uncertain. From Ferelden, Folklore and History by Sister Petrine. Doing pretty well with the codex, I gotta say. Arl Eamon. We already read that. Creatures. Dragon. Oh, cool. I didn't read that yet. A fully mature adult female dragon is the High Dragon, the great monster of legend, the rarest of all dragon kind. These dragons hollow out massive lairs for themselves, for they need the space to house their harem of drakes as well as their eggs and dragonlings. High dragons are seldom seen. They spend most of their time sleeping and mating, living off the prey their drakes bring back. But once every 100 years or so, the High Dragon prepares for clutching by emerging from her lair and taking wing. She will fly far and wide, eating hundreds of animals, most often livestock, over the course of a few weeks and leaving smoldering devastation in her wake. She then returns to her lair to lay her eggs and will not appear in the skies again for another century. All right. New quest, the Landsmeet. You have come to Denerim for the Landsmeet. Arl Eamon wishes to assemble the nobles to choose a new king that will unite Ferelden against the Blight. However, Loghain is still a thorn in your side, and there's much to do before you can confront him. Keep Eamon informed of your latest exploits. He can usually be found in his sitting room in the upper floor of the estate. Interesting. So I already did a lot of the work that I needed to do in order to get this rolling. Like, I've already got the dwarves, I've already got the Dalish elves. Like, I did a lot of the work already. Interesting. Okay, man, this is good stuff. I'm gonna take a second, as I always do, to just say I really appreciate y'all being here. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks so much for being along for the ride. If you're here on Twitch and you're live with me and you're chatting, or if you're lurking or whatever, I appreciate you being here as well. I hope that my thoughts and analysis are interesting to you in some kind of way. I imagine they are, since you're watching the stream. I don't claim to be correct in all of my analysis. It's just me reading what I'm reading on the fly. I am literally sight reading this game while we do this. So I hope that you are enjoying it as much as I'm enjoying playing it. The Dragon Age has been an absolute joy because there's so much complexity.
Everything in here appears to be breakable. It seems most impractical.
Love it. All right, let's see what else we got in here. Nagella.
Excuse me, I have to dust the Earl's sitting room.
Are you from Denerim?
No, I'm from Redcliffe. Lady Isolde brought me here to be her chambermaid last spring. I've family here, though. I beg your pardon, sir, but I really can't be seen standing about. The housekeeper will have my head. Good day.
Any chance you enjoy Denerim's finest brewery and would be down for a guy to buy you a drink there when you get off of work? No? All right. Well, I okay. I mean, an answer, I'll take that as a no. Don't ever say I didn't try to romance somebody in this game. Dirk barks happily, wagging his tail. Nice. A book. The Banorn. The central Ferelden Valley has always been a paradox. No single band holds more than a few dozen leagues of farmland, yet together they govern a greater territory than all the Terrans and Arls combined. This collection of independent bands is known as the Banorn, and it is the heart of Ferelden politics. No person has ever sat upon the throne of Ferelden without first winning the approval of the Banorn. Queen Fiona, who had the misfortune to take the throne in the 18th year of the Steel Age, wrote of the Banorn, "There have been 3 wars this year fought over elopements, 5 fought over wool, and 1 started by an apple tree. It isn't even winter yet. Who would believe that these same bands, now trying so hard to kill one another, just last year united to give me the crown?" From Ferelden, Folklore and History by Sister Patrine. Can't I do this book? Stan, you want to play some chess?
This is not as defensible as I would like, but it will do.
Yes. As you wish.
Cool. Well, I'm surprised that this is a lower standard than the camp, but all right. Morrigan, how's it going?
If one more servant asks if I would like a change of clothes, I will set the house on fire. What do you wish of me?
I love that. You wear whatever you want, Morrigan. Out of curiosity, why have you decided not to romance somebody in the game? I just don't feel compelled to. I do not like the idea of me being the leader of the party who has a lot of power, using that influence in a romantic way. I also just have not come across anybody in the party that particularly tickles my fancy as it relates to a romance. It's just not that interesting to me. I don't like complicating our group dynamic with that.
Yes.
Interesting. Can't unlock that. Can't get control of Liliana to open it for me. So, okie dokie. You were correct, Sean.
Ah, Warden. I trust you've made yourself comfortable.
Who's that? Yeah, it's fine.
Good, because it's likely to be your last rest for a while.
Okay.
This is Elena. She's...
I am Queen Enora's handmaiden. She sent me here to ask for your help.
Or perhaps the young lady prefers to speak for herself.
I'm gonna trust Arl Eamon on this. If the Arl's cool with it, cool. But yeah, I have to say that my initial reaction to this was like, that seems not great. But let's see. Why would Enora ask us for help?
The Queen, she is in a difficult position. She loved her husband, no? And trusted her father to protect him. When he returned with no king and only dark rumors, what is she to think? She worries,
Fair.
no? But when she tries to speak with him, he does not answer. He tells her not to trouble herself.
Aha, she's putting the pieces together and she doesn't like it. Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I get it. I totally get why she would believe him, because she has no reason not to. But yeah, when you start getting some bullshit ass answers from Loghain and he starts getting all up in his head about what it is that he's doing, maybe even out of some guilt. Yeah, you start to ask yourself some questions. Maybe you send a little somebody over to the Arl, somebody who you actually trust and has the reputation. A person who, by the way, endorses me by virtue of the fact that he showed up to the Landsmeet with me. That's a huge, by the way, that's a huge, huge, huge boon to the Grey Wardens. The fact that the Arl was willing to show up at the Landsmeet, or to Denerim, with a Grey Warden, despite what Loghain has said to people about the Grey Wardens, is huge. Because that is going to sow some seeds of doubt in people about how Grey Wardens have been represented. Because now you see person you trust with person you've been told you can't trust. All right. Let's see. Are you saying the Queen believes Loghain killed Kaelin, so she'd rather side with us than her husband's murderer? That's a little harsh. Are you saying the Queen believes Loghain killed Kaelin?
My Queen suspects she cannot trust her father. And Loghain, he is very subtle, no? But when and how, he is privy to all the secrets and not so subtle. So she goes to how? A visit from the Queen to the new Isle of Denerim is only a matter of courtesy. And she demands answers.
All right. What did he say?
Things no decent person would repeat. He calls her every sort of name, traitor being the kindest, and locks her in a guest room.
All right. What are you getting at?
I think her life is in danger. I heard how say she would be a greater ally dead than alive. especially if her death could be blamed on Al Eamon.
She would be a greater ally dead than alive. Well. Would Loghain kill his own daughter to frame Eamon? Sure he would. Of course he would. We have to get her out of there. Give me one good reason to believe this story. I actually think I'm going to be a little bit terse here, only because I need to see how well this person stands her ground here. Right? If I'm a little bit shitty with her and she's kind of empathic to like, hey, I get it, man. I get why you might not believe this, but like that would be helpful. Right? So give me one good reason to believe this story.
Because you do not want Loghain ruling Ferelden, and if Nora can speak at the Landsmeet, her voice would sway many nobles.
We may have no choice but to trust Nora. The Queen is well loved. If Loghain succeeded in pinning her death on me, I'm not sure that's a risk we can afford to take.
I'm with you, brother. All right, what do you propose we do?
I have some uniforms. I'll hire so many new girls every day. A few more will not cause much stir. I will show you to the servants' entrance. We must slip in and out with my queen before anyone is the wiser. I will go ahead to House Estate. Meet me there as soon as you can.
Whoa! Oh, Jesus Christ, man. That is a huge ask. That's a huge ask. Really? That is... Oh, man, that is so dangerous. I could be walking right into a trap, dude. Like, that could be so easily like, all right, they're here, lock them up. Ooh. Wow. Now, the Arl agreeing with it does have some impact on me because his judgment has been pretty solid up until this point. Yeah, at this point, Lady Crazy, no, I'm so far in the game, I'm not going to worry about it. It's fine. I run too many risks by installing too much shit, so it works well enough. But I appreciate the suggestion. Oh man, if it's right, I mean that's the problem, right? Like, yeah, if it's not a trap, bad news. If it is a trap, bad news. The thing we know is that aide risked herself to come over here and tell us about it, and that does say something. Meditations and odes to bees. O fair damsel of the garden, our Lessa of honeysuckle and rose, I humbly beg your gracious pardon for the offense that here arose. Surely your work is far too vital to be interrupted by one like me. I am in no way entitled to earn the notice of a honey bee. I was a fool to pluck that flower for my lady fair. On my honor, I swear to bring you dozens more within the hour, if you give me leave to try. Listen, traveler, if you would walk the garden paths some spring, mind that you don't trespass, for the gardeners do sting. Love it. Nah. Alright,
I'm glad you decided to help. With Nora's knowledge, we have a far better chance against Loghain.
What do you know about Queen Honora?
She and Kaelin were promised as children and practically raised together. She was a smart child, knew how to listen, and how to blink those big blue eyes and get anything she wanted. Her mother's looks, her father's brains, and the best tutoring Merrick's money could buy. It's a potent combination.
That would make sense then why she was able to critically think about this. You truly think Loghain's daughter would turn on him?
From Alina's story, he turned against her first. If he truly intends to sacrifice her, I think it will be strong motivation to break the parental bonds. In any event, I would far rather have the opportunity to ask such things of her than simply hear about her murder. If Honora speaks out against Loghain, hers would indeed be one of the most powerful voices of the Landsmeet.
Yeah, and Loghain knows that. It is true. I mean, I suppose that is the case, that if the order of operations is such that Honora started to critically think about this stuff and Loghain keeps shutting it down, he did essentially sow seeds of doubt in her. And so this would be a reaction to that. So it does track logically. If I break in, can't they frame me for murder?
No more easily than without you there. There will be none to see it, save those who are already loyal to Loghain. And given your reputation, Warden, I think Loghain knows it's safer to carry out his plots far from where you can disrupt them.
All right. I'll get going then.
As you like. My palace is your palace.
Thank you. Alistair, how you feeling about this, buddy?
I haven't been here in a while. They've changed the dining room. What do you need? Ask away.
Okay, so it appears that we have gone where we could go in this direction.
His lordship sends no notice he's coming, and now the house is full of guests. Andraste preserve us, this will be the death of me.
All right, in the library. There's lots of books. Good. Hope you all are strap in, friends, because we're going to do some reading. History of Ferelden, Chapter 2. The occupation was a dark blot on Ferelden's history. Our people, who from time to time immemorial valued their freedom over all else, were forced to bow to Orlesian rule. The Empire declared our elves property and sold them like cattle. Chevaliers routinely plundered freeholds of coin, food, and even women and children, and excused it as taxation. And for 70 years no landsmeets were held, for the imperial throne had declared our ancient laws a form of treason. King Brandel was one of those who escaped. He tried to organize the other fugitive lords to retake their land, but Brandel was neither clever nor persuasive, and the nobles preferred to take their chances alone. Ferelden might still be little more than a territory of the Empire, were it not for the fact that his daughter had all the charisma that her royal father lacked. The rebel queen's rule began with a midnight attack on the Imperial armory at Lothering. It was swift and successful, and with their pilfered arms, the rebels began a campaign against the Orlesians in earnest. But the turning point of the war came when a young freeholder joined the queen's army. The lad, Loghain MacTyr, possessed a remarkable talent for strategy and quickly became the favorite advisor of young Prince Marek. The queen finally died at the hands of Orlesian sympathizers anxious to curry favor with their painted masters, and Marek took her place as the leader of the rebellion. Loghain became Marek's right hand. Marek and Loghain led the rebels in a new campaign against their Orlesian oppressors, culminating in the Battle of River Dane, where the last Chevaliers in Denerim were crushed. With the capital once more in the hands of Fereldans, the battle to free our people was finally over. But the battle to rebuild what had been lost had only just begun. From Ferelden, Folklore and History by Sister Petrine. I wonder if we'll ever get to meet Sister Petrine. The Free Marches. The Free Marches are not a kingdom, nor even a nation in the most basic sense. People from that region dislike even being lumped together as marchers. Rather, they are a collection of independent city-states united only when it suits them. In this respect, they resemble the Benorn before the arrival of King Calenhad. Because of this, the Free Marches have no capital, and what passes for a central government exists only sporadically, a sort of Landsmeet that convenes only during times of crisis. I arrived in time for the grand tourney while it was on in Tantervale, a remarkable sight indeed. I saw Evar Hillsmen test their mettle against Orlesian Chevaliers. riders from the Anderfells buying Navaran cavalry horses, and Tevan craftsmen selling their wares to Tevinter mages. All of Thedas was on display. In the pursuit of knowledge, the travels of a Chantry scholar by Brother Genetivi. Who's this guy?
I
Denoel.
hope all the accommodations are to your liking, Warden. Please let me know if anything is troubling you.
I'm good, man. How are your accommodations? Are you good? Anything I can do to help? Because I'm the one that wields shitloads of power here. You let me know, brother.
You know, I could get to like this. The last time I came to Denerim, I stayed at an inn so filthy the bedbugs had fleas. What say you?
This is a nice change from having to sleep in the woods, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something I can help with?
What do you know of this place?
Denerim is Ferelden's most important city, yes? This is the seat of power, the jewel in the crown of the king. She is Ferelden's heart. Her walls are strong, but within them lies so much beauty, just like the country and the people.
Cool. Thanks, Liliana, for that extra little tidbit.
Yes. So many visitors, so many chamber pots to clean. Oh, if they keep tracking mud up here, it's going to take a month to get it all out.
Another love letter. My darling Reginald, I burn for you, and because of you, please use the enclosed tincture if our love is to endure. Man, this codex is so frustrating. I wish, like, you could see all the new ones. Estate exterior. All right, so have I done? No, I don't think I've gone everywhere that there is to go. I need to go to the other side.
So many visitors, so many chamber pots.
Ogren.
What you need?
I'd like you to leave.
What? Me leave? Are you serious?
I'm sorry, I think I am. I want you to go.
This isn't working out. It was foolish to think of someone like me on a heroic mission against an archdemon. I'm just, not sure where else to go. Can't really go back to Orzammar, and you're the only one I know on the surface. Maybe I can open a tavern. Well, good luck, Warden. Come find me, and we'll toast the archdemon when he's dead.
Yep. There we go. Got it done.
I better not see one speck of black on those loaves, Corella, or it's back to the scullery with you.
Ooh, there's cats. Hello, cat. Hello, kitty. Scrullian.
What's the point in scrubbing the pots if they just get dirty again?
Good question, brother.
Can't talk now, sir. Mistress Agatha would have my hide.
Feast day fish. Fluffy mackerel pudding. 2 stalks celery, 1 green pepper, half a pound of poached mackerel, 1 small onion finely diced, 2 teaspoons of mustard, 1 teaspoon salt, half teaspoon ground Antivan pepper, 1/8 teaspoon ground mace, dash ground cardamom seed, 2 eggs beaten, 2 eggs boiled and sliced for garnish. It actually doesn't sound too bad. Why'd you get rid of Ogren? I recommend watching the episodes back in Orzammar where we got him. He engaged in behavior that is unbecoming of somebody in our party. Sexual harassment, not great discourse. Made some other party members very uncomfortable. So I wanted to dismiss him outright. I couldn't. So the fact that I was able to dismiss him there, it's for the better. He even seems to agree. So his behavior was not behavior that I care to have around in the party.
If it's in need of any more spice. I'd better not see one speck of black on those loads.
It is essentially an act of allyship to other members of my party, particularly the women in my party.
Indeed.
Yes.
Okay, so now we are in the market district. Okay, so this is Eamon's estate. Servants' quarters. I think that's just one of the other places. The kitchen. Okay.
So do you ever want to go back?
To Honleith? Perhaps it should stare at a patch of grass for 30 years and then tell me how much it misses it.
Point taken. Still, if you can't remember anything else ever, it would be scary to leave, I think.
Fortunately, I am not as comfortable with the mundane and familiar as some.
Ooh, ow. Ow. Sort of an adventurer, I see. Brave new world, that sort of thing.
And instead, I should be content to remain in that village, standing still out of fear of the unknown. What life is that? I know what I am now. I know how I was made. I can move forward. It, who has had so much more, should do half as well.
Thanks for that. I feel really good now.
A pleasure. Next time we shall speak of its grammar and personal hygiene.
Shale is one of the best written characters in any video game. Like, it is just, Shale is just so good. She is so perfect. Oh my god. Whoever wrote her character is brilliant. You know, there is something in what she said that is worth talking about briefly. Which is when she said, so what, should I just stand in a field of grass and not do anything because I'm afraid of the unknown? There are a lot of people who do that. There are a lot of people who want change in their life, but are afraid of that change, even if it might be for the better. That's an understandable thing. Humans are not really properly conditioned from an evolutionary standpoint to want too much change. And there are many people who will stay in conditions that they despise because at least they know it. And a lot of times people will take the devil they know versus the one that they don't know. The unknown is a very powerful force. It is a thing that ultimately, if you decide that you want more for your life than you currently have, and there are opportunities for you to lean into the discomfort of the unknown, it is ultimately on you to make that decision. There are various environmental and contextual and societal forces that hold certain people down and don't give them the opportunity to move outside of their circumstances. But ultimately, staying in your current situation that you have opportunities to get out of if you want to is a choice. And if fear of the unknown is something that is paralyzing you, there are always unknowns. And if you are okay with the fact that you're staying in your bubble and you're doing your thing, that's okay. If you're distressed by that, one of the things that you're going to have to do is learn how to lean into the discomfort of not knowing what's coming, even if what's coming may be better. A lot of people want to know that they 100% are going to be doing the right thing before they do it. And I'm here to tell you, it's impossible to know 100% whether the thing that you're doing next is the right decision. Sometimes you have to lean into the possibility that it might not be the right decision and respond from there. So I do like that in terms of what Shale said there. Now, to address, does it fix Ogren's problems to dismiss him from the party? That's not my job. It's not my job to bring Ogren around to being more respectful of other people. That's Ogren's battle to fight. it sends a message to him by dismissing him. Like, if I was actually doing it, I would tell him to his face, I'm dismissing you because of the way that you acted in the presence of Liliana and some of the shit that you said to me, and it's just not appropriate, and it's unbecoming of the kind of behavior I want in this party. And that's a piece of feedback, perhaps amidst a bunch of other things that tell Oghren that what he's doing is not actually okay. He needs to get that from a lot of different directions before he's going to make any kind of effort to change. But ultimately, it's not my responsibility to keep a problematic person around at the expense of the other people in my party just because we want to give him a chance. I have to act as the party lead on behalf of everybody in my party. And when I have Morrigan and Liliana and Shale hanging out in my party, and I just keep a guy who is misogynistic around because I'm hoping that we can fix him, that is very unfair to the other people in my party who are essentially hurt by having Oghren around. So I have to make a judgment call there, which is to say to Oghren, you can't be around here, bud, and I encourage you to change your behavior in future parties or this is going to happen again. But I'm the person who has the ability to make that call, so I'm going to use the power I have in that situation to make that call. It's not my responsibility to live Oghren's life for him and to make the changes he needs to make. It's my responsibility to set boundaries with Oghren relative to my relationship with him and the party that I'm in control of. And for me, that boundary is one of cutoff. I'm not going to tolerate that. Oghren is responsible for his own life. I'm not responsible for that. And that is the case for all of us in the relationships that we choose to keep around or not. Is you can't control other people's behaviors. You can control your boundaries relative to their behaviors. And you should control your behaviors relative to that. I knew that was going to happen, which is why I saved. Boundaries are so important. You know, if Oghren came to me and said, hey, man, I want to do better. I realize I've probably done some shit that's not cool. Give me a chance to apologize. And please, you know, I'm working through some shit. And I'm willing to be held accountable in the context of this group. And I'm not going to keep messing this up. I'm going to really do better. Cool. He didn't do that. Help us, banana hammock thong dwarf guy. Alrighty. Rescue the queen. That's what's next, huh? Honestly, this is probably a good place to stop. I realize it's a bit of a short episode, but I don't know that I want to go on that mission. Let's hold off on that until the next episode. We got a lot in on this one. Friends, I really appreciate you taking the time. If you're on YouTube, thanks for watching this episode. Some really good stuff, albeit a short episode. We got some real good stuff in here. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. As always, leave a like on the stream. Leave a comment if you got something that you want to share. Please don't write spoilers in chat. I cannot emphasize that enough. And also, if you're going to write, I know you don't like backseating, but stop writing the comment. I'm reading way too many of those comments lately. Regardless, I'm so grateful for your engagement. Thank you for watching my stuff. It really means a lot. If you think there are people that could enjoy these playthroughs or would benefit from them, please share them. It's one of the best ways that you can support the stream, and it's free to do. Those of you that do support the stream in any kind of financial way, thank you for doing that. It really does make a difference. It helps me pay my editor to get this stuff out in a really nice amount of time after it's streamed. So please know that it does make a huge difference. I will very much look forward to seeing you in part 29 if you're binging. I'll see you in a second. If you're waiting for the next episode to come out, we'll get it out as soon as we can. Until next time, you matter. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'll catch you on the next one.